With all the euphemisms and sugarcoating aside, how do you feel about Merchants of Air as a finished product, and where do you think it places in the scope of the Kong catalog?
It's too early to really judge the new album, and maybe it's never really possible to judge your own music, because every album is very much connected to the period in which we made it. Like our first two albums are, especially the first one, is really it's really experimental, and it's not it is very rough, and that was just the period we were in. We were still experimenting, didn't know where it was going, and so on. And later we made albums which were much more smooth and balanced, and well, that also had to do with the people who were in the band at the moment and the period we were in. If I try to compare to other albums, I think that the new one is pretty well balanced. It has different kinds of songs, but it doesn't go in all directions, for my idea. And I think the sound is not perfect. Will never be perfect in our case, but it's pretty well balanced out also. And yeah, I'm quite happy with the result for now. And well, that also has to do with the period of making the album, which was, as usual, quite hard, but this time even harder, I think, because we had the problem that Mandy, the drummer, had an injury. She had a pretty heavy concussion for a long time, so she couldn't play, and we had to wait, and so it was kind of spread out, the recordings. And then the mixing was a pretty tough job also. So I can only look at that. That everything, all songs came out as I had them in mind when we started recording. And I think it's a good combination of, well, let's call it typical Kong elements, being danceable here and there, as well as heavy in the sense of well, heavy metal riffs, and there's some industrial elements, and also some more kind of ambient, abstract pieces. So yeah, good collection of the different phases of Kong.
Perhaps the most talked about aspect of Kong is the live setup, the quadraphonical performance style. How do you think this setup, with each member occupying a different corner of the venue and the audience in the middle, enhances the sound of your music? Has there ever been a time where you considered abandoning this style in favor of something more traditional?
In Kong, everyone's equal. We don't have a singer or a frontman who attracts all the attention from the audience. Our live setup with the 4 stages with the audience in the middle allows everyone in the audience to find his own position, or to take a closer look at each of the musicians in Kong. I think that's quite, still quite a unique concept.
And I'd like to add that the quadraphonic setup that we use with as well, all the people spread, the musicians spread through the whole, but also the sound system, is in a way very logical. When you watch a movie or a theater play, you have to watch in one direction. You don't have eyes in the back of your head, but ears can pick up sound from everywhere. So why would you only have that coming from one direction when it's a much more intense and surround experience when you have it from all sides?
Well, we do play on one stage occasionally, especially at festivals. It's not always possible to do the quadraphonic setup, but it's a totally different experience for the audience as well as for us, because we're standing really close to each other, which we're not used to. It's sound-wise, it's different for us, but also for the audience. It's more of a traditional setup, and I personally prefer the quadraphonic setup.
Now a question of musical philosophy. As you sit down to write the newest Kong material, do you find yourselves writing a track with the intentions of playing it live in that non-traditional setup? Or you're looking for a track that would play well on an album? Do you think your approach, either way, has ever adversely affected the other?
I think in general we're more live-oriented. So when we sit down to write a song, the live setup and the atmosphere of a gig is what's in the back of our mind. But we really can't force ourselves in a certain direction. So it also happens that a song develops in a totally different way than we thought before, and it ends up being a song which is not at all suitable for playing live. We have several songs that we never even try to play live because we just feel that they are not going to work in a live setting. So we just don't know what's going to happen when starting something new. And I think that's a very good thing, because one of the important things of making music, especially when you do it for a long time, is that you manage to keep surprising yourself. That sometimes something happens which you hadn't looked for or didn't expect at all, but which you're very happy with. A good example is that we had it a few times a long time ago that we felt that we needed also a kind of quiet, laid back track on the album which we were working on. So we sat down to write a quieter track, and quite often this ended up being the most intense and heavy track of the album, because it just went that way. And well, that's what keeps it interesting.
And lastly, with the music industry in the state that it's in, more bands are moving towards the digital sales medium, particularly through Bandcamp, as a means to spread their music. Where do you stand on the digital versus physical debate, and where do you think secondary physical outlets, vinyl, cassette, etc., fit into that model?
With Kong, the main objective has never been making money. We don't have the illusion that we're going to sell millions of records or earn loads of money with it. We just feel the urge to make music, and we're in the fortunate position that we can without having to earn money with it. I think we actually take advantage of the current state of the music industry, and especially the digital infrastructures, to spread our music all over the globe. I mean, that was quite different 20 years ago. Now it seems so much easier to do that. And yeah, some people pay for the downloads, others don't. We don't really care. We just want to make music.
I want to thank you guys again for taking the time to sit down with us and answer our questions. We're really looking forward to the future of Kong and some more great music.